Welcome to your Aligned as Fuck Life podcast, hosted by your girl, Shalvika. I am a life transformation coach, a wife, a cat mom, pure generator, Enneagram 3, Pisces sign, and helping you build an aligned as fuck life is my jam. Out in this world, we believe that there are no set rules for building a life, career, and business. That we are all unique and we should be able to embrace our uniqueness in everything we do while shedding all the rules or bullshit rules one at a time. We will talk all things mindset, manifestation, healing, energetics, rituals, success, and so much more. I believe that I can have it all and you can too. Ready for an episode that will take you one step closer to your aligned as fuck life? Let's get started. Hello, you lovely people. I am here sitting in my office recording the first ever episode of this podcast. And you guys, I am so excited. This project is really close to my heart because honestly, I wanted to do this for so long and it's finally happening. So I am super fucking psyched. So, as you may have seen, this episode is called Where Do I Start? And today we are actually going to be talking about the 5 steps that you need to take to actually start building your aligned as fuck life. But before we dive into these steps, let us actually kind of see what it really means to have your aligned as fuck life, right? Like, what is really your aligned as fuck life? For me, or according to me, your aligned as fuck life is a life that you feel excited about every single day. It is a life you have built on your own terms and not according to what the world says you should be doing or need to be doing or have to be doing. It is a life that is dictated by you knowing yourself completely. A life where you are the most authentic expression of yourself. A life where you choose the hard things that you want to face because, well, come on. Hard things are a part of life. But here you actually get to choose what kind of hard and uncomfortable really works for you. As Mark Manson says, what's your favorite flavor of shit sandwich? So I think in one of his blog posts, he talks about this. And that is so true, right? Like, all of us have to eat some sort of shit sandwich. We have to actually undergo some sort of hardship, some sort of uncomfortableness. I don't know if that's a word, but yeah, uncomfortableness in our lives. We have to push ourselves out of our comfort zones. The thing is, you get to choose what kind of shit sandwich you want to eat. That is what it means to actually be leading an aligned as fuck life. When you are choosing your kind of hard, when you are choosing your kind of uncomfortable. So that's what, for me, it means to be leading your aligned as fuck life. And of course, I would love to know what your thoughts are. So let me know in the comments. So, all right. Before I get completely on this tangent around aligned as fuck life, let me bring myself back and actually dive in to the 5 steps that actually are necessary or needed for you to get to that point of authenticity, for you to get to that point of leading an aligned as fuck life. All right. So, step number 1 is define what you want. And I know this sounds like super simple, right? Like it's very intuitive, right? Like, to build a life that I know I want, I need to first define what I want. But trust me, there are so many of us, and honestly, this was me like a few years ago, where I knew that I wanted something more from my life. I knew I wanted to, build my version of authentic life, of my authentic expression. But I just never took the time to sit down and define what is it that I really wanted, right? So that's what I want you to do. Get crystal clear on what you want. And this may seem like a very, very simple step, but trust me, it's a step that needs you to do some soul searching. It's a step that needs you to ask yourself the tough questions around where you are at in life right now, what kind of relationships you have in your life right now, what kind of values do you have right now, right? And actually getting super specific on where is it that you want to go. And once you have that defined, what I would recommend is actually write it down. Like, write down what you want from your life. What is it that you see yourself wanting, right? Like, what does my future self look like? What kind of clothes does she wear? What kind of work does she do? What is it that excites her? What kind of hobbies does she have? What kind of family setup does she live in? Does she live with a family? Does she live alone? Does she have a dog? Does she have a cat? Does she have kids? Get into the super specific details of what you want. And this really needs you to dive into, who you are as a person, what resonates with you, what really, really excites you, the kind of person that you are, what are your values, what is your why, right? That is also a big part of defining what is it that you want. So let me give you an example of my own, like personal example. I used to work for a massive manufacturing company. And in the last 2.5 years that I worked with the company, I actually held a corporate job for 9 years. I think in a future episode, I will actually talk about my detailed journey. But out of those 9 years, 2.5 years I spent on working on a department that actually built machines that could cut down forests. And one of the values, if you're someone who's been following me on Instagram, you know how important sustainability is for me, right? So even though on paper my job seemed really good, I was actually happy with the kind of assignments I was getting, with the kind of challenges I was getting. The value system of the company that I was working for just didn't align with the values that I wanted to live by, right? So it's also about actually defining what you don't want. So when you define what you want, you automatically define what you don't want in your life. And then making tough decisions just becomes so easy. And we will dive into this at a point sometime in the future, but that is step 1. Define what you want. Step number 2, do a life audit. How do you do a life audit, right? So what I want you to do is I want you to sit with a journal or a book and a pen, or you can even scribble it on your iPad, and ask yourself, how do I spend my energy? I don't just want you to ask yourself how I spend my time. I also want you to ask yourself, how do I spend my energy? What activities energize me? What in my life is serving me? What in my life is not serving me right now? What kind of habits, rituals, routines do I have that either serve me or don't serve me? What people do I have in my life that serve me or don't serve me? What kind of commitments do I have that excite me, don't excite me, drain me, or energize me, right? And of course, would my future self be doing this exact same thing, right? Would my future self be actually spending energy in the way that I am doing today? So that is how you do a life audit. You actually put yourself in the shoes of your future self, in the shoes of where you want to go, where you want to be 3 months down the line, 6 months down the line, 1 year down the line, 10 years down the line, right? Figure out where you want to be. And then ask yourself, what in my life is serving me today? What in my life is taking me a step closer or a step further away from where my future self is? Step number 3 is start incorporating what you want in your life little by little. Now, little by little is the most important thing. Let me tell you a little bit about how our brains work. So our brains are very habitual creatures. They love comfort. They love what they are habituated with. So if you suddenly introduce something new in your routine, so say you decide that your future self is someone who meditates, your future self is someone who pays attention to her mental health, and mindfulness is a focus and priority for her. So you decide suddenly one day, I'm gonna wake up and meditate for 20 straight minutes. You know what's gonna happen? You'll probably do it for a day, you'll probably do it for two, but from the third day onwards, you are going to fall back because your brain's gonna start screaming because it's uncomfortable. You have pushed your brain into something that's super new, that's super uncomfortable, and it's going to revolt. It'll find reasons to procrastinate, it'll find ways to procrastinate, and this is exactly why most of us don't end up building the habits that we say we want to build. So start little. You want to start meditating, don't meditate 20 minutes. Meditate 1 minute on the first day. Meditate 1 minute for the first week. Then meditate 2 minutes for the second week. Then probably push it to 5 minutes. Then do that for a few weeks. Then push it to 8 minutes. Then push it to 10 minutes. And eventually get to 20 minutes. Because trust me, as someone who meditates regularly, meditating 20 minutes in a row can be super fucking hard if you are new at it. So start small. Step number 4. Work on letting go of what you don't want, little by little. Again, we are going to do this one step at a time. But how can I let go of what I don't want? Right? So say, for example, you envision your future self as someone who takes care of her body, as someone who regularly eats nutritious food, does yoga, goes for jogs, or however that looks like for you, right? And say you decide that you want to first start with eating healthier. Don't change all your meals to eating a salad. Instead, start with a small promise. Promise yourself that you are not going to snack after 8 p.m. Maybe that could be your first small step. Then add something else. Then say, after a couple of weeks of this, then say that, I'm going to add a small salad with my dinner, right? And little by little, edge towards what your future self would not be doing. So let go of the things that don't serve you, but one step at a time. Step number 5, set yourself up for success. What do I mean by that? I'm sure you've heard of this phrase that you are a sum total or the average of the 5 people that you spend your most time with. Now, in this world, in this post-COVID world where most of us are virtually connecting with people and we are consuming media on such a regular basis, you are actually a sum total of all the kind of media that you're consuming. The TV shows that you're watching, the podcasts that you're listening to, the YouTube channels, the music, the books that you're reading. So start choosing with which people and resources do you want to be spending your time with? Where you want to go, what your future self really wants, which people, what resources, what podcasts, what books, what YouTube channels, what people on social media are actually going to support my journey in getting from where I am today to where I want to be, where my future self is. And start adding those people into your life, even if it is virtually, even if it is in the forms of the books you read, even if it is in the forms of the podcasts that you consume, right? Set yourself up for success by surrounding yourself by people and resources that will take you one step closer to where you want to go. So that is my 5-step process to start this journey towards your aligned as fuck life. Let me quickly recap all of these 5 steps. Step number 1, define what you want. Step Step number 2, do a life audit. Step number 3, start incorporating what you want little by little. Step number 4, work on letting go of what you don't want little by little. And step number 5, set yourself up for success by ensuring that you connect and consume the people and resources that help you in your journey towards your aligned as fuck life. That is it from me today. I will talk to you soon. Thank you so much for tuning in today's episode. If you absolutely loved what you heard today, be sure to share it with me by leaving a review on iTunes so that I can keep the good stuff coming. And if you aren't already following me on social media, come soak up some extra inspiration and send me a hello on Instagram by searching @Shalvika_P. Also tagged in the show notes. I love and adore you so much, and I will talk to you super soon. In the meantime, continue building your most authentic and aligned as fuck life. Ciao!